So the next presentation is on, in the same series of Yes I Can, how can I imbibe these positive values that I just looked at. Now it looks like a very tall order, it looks like a difficult task, but it is not impossible. It is definitely possible in our lifetime if we can really, see the path that has been described to me in the scriptures. What is the way I can do this? So essentially, we are going from unhealthy to healthy habits, from negative to positive values. So essentially, this is a journey. And one of the prayers in our Shastra says, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, means from darkness we go towards light, and from ignorance we go towards bliss. So this is a journey. Essentially, this journey is not outside, like in a regular, normal, worldly journey that you go from one place to the other. But this journey is more of an inner journey. And the person who does this journey, the seeker, who wants to seek these healthy, positive habits, unhealthy may say healthy, negative may say positive values, from darkness to light, wants to go from ignorance to bliss, is the seeker of these values, is called as a sadhaka. So sadhaka is the person who is seeking this, and he embarks on this journey that is called as sadhana. And he has some goals in his mind. These goals are called sadhya. So these are the goals that he defines, that this is what I want to achieve in life. And then he has to use a lot of tools which are available to us, and these tools are called sadhana. So I'll talk about a lot of these things, what is given in the scriptures about sadhana, sadhaka, sadhya and sadhana. So let's talk about sadhana first, this journey. Now this journey, as I mentioned, this is an inner journey into our own self. It is not an outward journey, but it's an inner journey. And it's an eternal journey. It is not that this journey comes to an end, when we die. This journey does not come to an end. It is an eternal journey because it carries on from one birth to the other. This is what our Shastras, the Hindu scriptures or our Vedic Shastras tell us. And this has been clearly described in the scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita also this has been clearly described. And it is also said that whatever little we do in this journey, nothing goes in waste. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Neha bhi kramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate. Whatever little you do, it does not go in waste. Sometime or the other, you'll get the fruit of your action. Nothing goes in waste. It's a big solace. And whatever little you do is nothing, it's not going to go in waste. But the important thing is that we have to keep doing it constantly, always and all the time. Because otherwise, this journey is not that simple. I'll come to that, what are the reasons for that. And that's why it is said, Charai Veti, keep walking all the time. And awareness is the key thing, Sajagata. Sajagata hi sadhana hai. We have to keep aware where we are going, how we are going, constantly be aware. Is it the right path? Is it are we using the right tools? And either we are walking or we have stopped walking. So all these questions we need to ask. And for that, you need a lot of awareness. And we have to keep constantly the goal in our mind. What is the goal that we have started with? Where do we want to reach? So sadhaka or the seeker is somebody who wants to go from one habits to the other or changes. But there are some seekers who seek freedom, what is also called as enlightenment or the self-knowledge, or what we call as Atmagnan or the Brahmagnan. So these seekers are called, they have an Ichha, or they seek moksha, they seek liberation, and that's why they are called mumukshu. So these seekers, all seekers are not mumukshu, but some of the seekers who have an intense desire that they want moksha, then these seekers are called mumukshu. We also need some evidence-based texts. Like in our every profession, we need evidence to prove something or to disprove something. In the inner journey, the evidence or the guiding light or the source which shows the light or the direction is our Shastra. And Shastra essentially means our Vedic Shastra. The Veda Shastra is considered to be the Pramana. So Shastra hi Pramana hai means that Shastra gives us, it's the evidence that what is the correct path. And of course, to show this correct path, we need a very expert guidance. Just like to learn a subject, you need a good teacher. Similarly, in the inner journey, when for deciphering the true meaning or the real artha of these Shastra or the shlokas, especially when it is in Sanskrit, we need an expert guidance from a guru. So this guru must also have learned from the Guru Shishya Parampara. So that means that guru or that person must be Kshatriya. Kshatriya means has learned from this Parampara where it is, speaking and then learning. So that is the Parampara. Guru speaks and the Shishya learns. So that is how it is called the Kshatriya, is where the Guru has learned this jnana from his or her Guru by being Kshatriya. So it's not it's not learning from reading. This is not something that you can learn by reading alone or just by talking or discussing. This is something that you have to learn by a parampara from a real Guru. And then this Guru has imbibed the knowledge in his or her own self. So Guru is Brahmanishta. And also you need on this path, you need a lot of grace of the Almighty, Ishvara Krupa. Definitely, it is said that one can come on this path only with the help of Ishvara Krupa, and one can progress on this path with the help of Ishvara Krupa. But even more important to progress on this path is what is called as Atma Krupa. Means our own efforts. If we don't do efforts and think that it is Ishvara Krupa which is going to do everything and I'm going to reach my goal by Ishvara Krupa, it's not going to work. We have to do all our efforts. And only with this, Ishvara Krupa will help us to reach our goal or sadhya. So that is what sadhaka has to think. That is how sadhaka has to live his life. He has to make Shastra as a pramana, Guru as the guiding light. And of course, he has to do all his efforts. He cannot just leave it to Guru or Shastra or Bhagwan to show him the light of the day. He has to do a lot of efforts himself. Now, clarity of goal is also very important. What is sadhya? And in the Vedic Parampara, it is said that the main goal for us, all of us, to have a birth as a human being is to know our true self. What is called as an Atma Gyan or a Brahma Gyan. Now, this is the cause for liberation and freedom. This gives us moksha. Moksha means mukti, freedom. And this moksha is during this life. It is not after death. As a lot of us believe that moksha means after death we don't have to take another janama. It's not like that. Moksha means in this life we become free from all our desires. We become free from all our karma and its action. We become free from all our miseries, shoka, dukkha, everything. So it's a complete liberation, and that is what is called as a moksha. But this is a far-fetched goal, and this is not an easy goal. For thousands or maybe crores of people going on to this path, only very few can achieve this moksha as a final goal. But to reach this goal, the most important intermediate goal or the step is to cleanse our mind. That is also called as Antakarana Shuddhi. And this is the most important goal. Unless we have this, we cannot reach to the moksha or the final goal. So this goal is, तो कह सकते हैं कि बीच वाला पड़ाव है जिससे हम फाइनल पड़ाव पर जा सकते हैं. But this is the most important goal, and most of the sadhana is done for Antakarana Shuddhi. So unless Antakarana is Shuddha, your mind is pure, it is clean, we cannot have this Gnana. So it's just not possible. So this is the most important thing, and most of the sadhana for years one has to do for this Antakarana Shuddhi. Once Antakarana is Shuddha, then Jnana does come quite quickly. That is what Guru says. So Atma Swarup or Brahma Swarup it is known as Satchidananda. As you must have heard this name very often, Satchidananda is our Swarup. But what is actually Satchidananda? Satchidananda word is made up of three padas. The first pada is called the Sat. Sat means it is always there. It is Nitya. तीनों काल में जो है, past, present and future, त्रिकाल में कभी उसकी बाध नहीं होती है. त्रिकाल अबाधित. So it's always there. There is no birth, there is no death, because it is always there. It is never that पहले नहीं था, अभी उसको जन्म लेना पड़ा, अभी उसको death होना पड़ा, change होना पड़ा, ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है. So that tattva is Sat Tattva. That is the truth. So Satya or Sat Tattva is this Tattva which is Nitya, which is always there. So that is the meaning of Sat Tattva. There is a true meaning of Sat. The Chitta of the second pada of the Sat Chitta Ananda. The second pada is a Chitta. The Chitta is a Gnan Swarupa or a Bhan. Just because we have awareness, knowledge, understanding, we know हर एक चीज का जो भान हो रहा है, ज्ञान हो रहा है, consciousness, existence, awareness जो है, ये सब हमारा चित्त स्वरूप है. So that is a Chitta. And the third is the Ananda Swarup. That is the pure bliss और परम आनंद जो हमें अंदर से प्राप्त होती है हमारा स्वरूप के साथ, which is the Sarva Vyapaka. It is always everywhere, and this Satchidanand Swarup is Achala. It is, it is Sarva Vyapaka. It is everywhere. So the other thing that we commonly hear is this word yoga, and we also need to understand what is yoga, because a lot of this yoga will come in the in the sadhana. Yoga comes from a yuj dhatu in Sanskrit, which means to join or to connect. And yoga actually means, in scriptures, it means to connect with the divine or the divine energy or God. So when we say karma yoga means to connect with God with the right action. Bhakti yoga means to connect with the Lord, of course, with devotion. Dhyana yoga means to connect with contemplation or meditation. And of course, there is another method called Ashtanga yoga, which I'll also come. So these are all the different ways you can connect with the Almighty. And the beauty of the Hindu scripture or philosophy is that we have several ways to reach to the Almighty. There is not just one single way. And we have never been told that ये आप करो तो आप पहुंच जाएंगे वहां, आपको ये करना है, वो नहीं करना है, ये करना है, ऐसा नहीं है. One can choose on the basis of our own liking, our own passion, our own interest, our own inclination. Somebody has a lot of inclination to do karma. He cannot live without karma. So karma is his best tool to connect to God with the right action. Somebody is a devotee, has a lot of devotion, भगवान के प्रति भी काफी आदर है, सत्कार है, भक्ति भाव है. So that person can surrender to the Lord and connect with the Lord with the devotion and reach the final goal. Somebody who is more interested in a Gyan or Dhyana can connect with the Almighty with this, and somebody can do it with Ashtanga Yoga. So there are several ways to reach to the final destination, but finally the final destination in the Vedic scripture is the Gyan. So what are the tools? Let me understand what are the sadhana or the tools that I can use to reach my goals, because I'll need some tools. My guru will tell me that this is what you need to do, but I have to use the tools. So the first step is what is called as outer cleansing. And the best way to do outer cleansing, because when we are in the world, we interact with the outside world with our kriya or karma or action. So the best way is to cleanse ourselves by doing the karma in the right possible way, in the righteous way, that is called as a dharma karma. In a more, initially of course we will do it with desires, but ultimately we have to go towards more of karma, which is also called nishkam karma, means that it does not have too much of desires. And we will talk about what is karma yoga in the next talk in details, because karma yoga is something that we must understand. It is not just that because we do karma, it is karma yoga, or we do karma and take care of Lord's name, then it is karma. It is not like that. So we must understand what is karma yoga. So we will talk in details in the next session. Bhakti yoga, Ashtanga yoga, these are all the ways we can have outer cleansing or shuddhi. And the next step is what is the inner cleansing or the mind cleansing. And this mind cleansing comes with another 4 tools. And these 4 tools are called Sadhan Chatushtaya Sampatti. So for a sadhana, these are the best 4 sadhana and these are the cleansing sadhana. So to cleanse our mind, our inner self, we have to adopt these 4, which are called Viveka, Vairagya, Shama Adi, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutva. So these are the 4 sadhana or the tools or the sampatti, that the assets that we can have for inner Shuddhi. And then when there is inner Shuddhi and we want to attain the Gnan or the final knowledge, then Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. These are the 3 tools which are important to achieve the ultimate knowledge for us, the Atma Gnana. And finally, the Sakshat Sadhana is the Vritti, the Brahmakara Vritti that gives us the final Gnana. So this is the sadhana. Sadhana is you start with the outer cleansing, starts with doing the karma in the right particular way. Then we go to Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga also we can take help. And then of course, then we clean our mind inner by utilizing Viveka, Vairagya. I'll come to it what all this means actually. So coming to what is our Shastra, we should understand the Ved Shastra, what it tells us. And Ved Shastra is considered as the Pramana, as the evidence, the final evidence. So Veda Shastra has 2 essential parts, and these 2 parts are, the first part is called the Karma Kanda and the second part is called the Jnana Kanda. So Karma Kanda is almost 80% of all the Ved is in the Karma Kanda, and it tells us what we should do, what we should not do. So that is called as a Vidhi Nisheda. A lot of things that we should do, ye karoge to ye phal milega, ye nahi karenge to ye nahi milega, ye karenge to ye milega. All this Vidhi Nisheda has given is in the Karma Kanda part of the Veda. But that is not the final part of the Veda. That is not the Tatparya, or that is not the final goal of the Veda. The final goal of the Veda Shastra is in the final part, or what is called as a Jnana Kanda, which comprises only about 20% of the Veda Shastra, and that is known as Vedanta or Upanishads. So all the Upanishad gives the Jnana, the final knowledge, and or the Vedanta. So it's called Vedanta because it's not actually in the Anta part of the Veda, but it's called that it's the final destination for the 8th Veda. It is the final Tatparya or the final destination where Ved wants to take you to, all the souls. So the final destination is not that all the souls remain the karma. The final destination is that after doing karma in the right way, getting the right kind of a Shuddhi, Antakarana Shuddhi, we should go towards the Jnana and we should understand ourselves fully. So this is what in a nutshell is the Veda Shastra. Now talking about the cleansing by karma, the first step is that if we are in inaction, if we are lazy, we are alsi, then we should get pravritta or we should get inspired into karma. So if we are in inaction, the first step that the Veda tells us is to get into action, because Veda never appreciates inaction or laziness. So पहले तो action में आना है. पहले action में आते हैं, फिर Veda tells us that you should do action or karma in the right method, in the righteous way, in the correct way, according to the Shastra. So Shastra की तरफ उसका ध्यान धरते हैं कि भाई इस तरह से आपको करना है. But that is all sakam karma, because यहाँ पर कामना के साथ कर्म किया जाता है. Now next step is what is called as the nishkam karma, or what is also known as the karma yoga, where we do a karma without getting attached to its results, without getting attached to its fruits. And this is something that we need to understand, so we'll talk about it in more details. Similarly, Bhakti Yoga, as we discussed, Ashtanga Yoga has 8 limbs. Ashtanga, 8, or Yoga, Anga. So these 8 limbs are the Yama. Yama are the moral codes outside. Niyama are for self-purification for our own study. Asana, that is a yoga asana that we do. Postures, different. Pranayama, breath control. Pratyahara, sense control. Dharana, or concentration. Dhyan, that is meditation. And Samadhi, that is you absorb yourself with the universal energy. So these are the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. It was popularized by Patanjali Muni, and currently a lot of other Munis also they prescribe Ashtanga Yoga. So there are different ways of cleansing ourselves and going towards So let's talk about Sadhan Chatushtaya Sampatti. What is this? The first is the Viveka. So Viveka means Vichara, and Vichara is done by Buddhi. So this is our discriminating or our intellectual asset that we have been bestowed upon. And this is how we are get separated from animals and humans. We have this power of discrimination. We have this Buddhi Shakti. We have this intellect. We have this discriminating power to select or decide what is good for us, what is not good for us, what we should do, what we should not do. So this power is with us, and with utilizing this power in the best of our abilities, the best of our way is what the scriptures tell us. So it's beautiful how our own intellect, our own Buddhi Shakti is inspired in the scriptures. Scriptures don't tell us that you do this and you don't do this, or you do this and don't do this. Scriptures always tell us that we should think what we should do, what we should not do. And this discriminating power is with us. So it's a beautiful philosophy. It's one of the wonderful philosophies that we have with us. The second attribute is the Vairagya. Vairagya means some kind of a detachment or a let go of a lot of things. As human beings, we have a lot of, an inclination or an attachment to things. We try to, पकड़ के रखते हैं, उसको छोड़ना नहीं चाहते. ये पकड़ा है, ये मिल गया, तो उसको पकड़ के रख लेते हैं. We don't want to leave it. So this detachment comes from seeing the other aspect of this attachment, and then with this Vairagya, definitely it helps. Bina Vairagya, there cannot be any satisfaction, there cannot be any santosh, there cannot be any happiness without Vairagya. We have to develop some kind of an alam buddhi, enough is enough, Vairagya, and let go and give more and more. So this kind of Vairagya is important if we have to progress in our inner journey. But only with the Viveka, Vairagya can come. We must first have the Viveka. Only with this Viveka, Buddhi, Vichara, we can see what is good, what is not good, what is useful, what is not so useful, what we can use, what we can let go. So we have to think. The third is a Shamadhi Shat Sampatti. So Shat means sixth Sampatti or six assets. So first is the Shama. Shama means control of our mind. And this is the most important part of our sadhana, because the mind is the most difficult part to control. It says that man jo hai wo, it's like a monkey. It keeps going places. That's why man also is between the outer world and our inner soul or buddhi. So that is on one side is the sense organs and the world. So the man is the in-between factor. So unless we control or cultivate this, it is very difficult to to progress on this inner journey. And that's why control of mind is one of the most important means in this journey. Second is control of the sense organs. We have Indriya. Indriya are the sense organs which come in contact with the objects outside in the world, and these are the ones which try and go there and try and pick up that understanding, or and it brings it back to the mana. So these Indriya, there are 5 Karmendriya and 5 Jnanendriya. Jnanendriya is something like Chakshu Indriya, the eyes which can see, the Roop, the Shrotrendriya or the ears which can hear. So these are all Twagendriya, that is the skin which can understand the sense of touch. So these are all the Indriyas that we have. Then the third is called as a Uparati. Uparati means that Uparam hona, karma or bhog ko chodna. So it's essentially some kind of a Vairagya, but ye sab ko chodne ka jo hota hai wo Uparam hai. Titiksha means to endure. So there are a lot of dualities, there are a lot of things that we have to sahan karna hai, endure in this world. And Bhagavan ne Arjun ko bola hai, tan titikshasva bharata. So all these dualities you have to endure. There is no other option. If there is a big epidemic and there is a world lockdown all over the world, there is nothing you can do about it. Even if you are worried, you are anxious, you are fearful, but there is nothing you can do more about it. So it's better you endure this time. Do your best. Learn as much as you can. Be creative. Do something good, whatever best you can do, and endure this time. So this is what God tells us. Have faith, Shraddha. बहुत बड़ी चीज है. Shraddha in God, faith in your Guru, faith in the scriptures, faith in your friends, faith. So all this, if we have this kind of a faith, then we can progress. Samadhana means concentration. Our mind is something that cannot focus on a particular thing for one time. So we must develop this, and this can be developed best by meditation and by other practices, yogic practices. And finally, mumukshutva or mumuksha. So mumuksha means an entire intense desire for freedom, and this is very important. So if somebody may have a lot of vivek, vairagya, shamadhi, shat, sampatti, but does not have a mumuksha for desire for moksha, moksha ki ichha is mumuksha, then you cannot achieve the final goal. So to achieve the final goal, all this cleansing is important, and finally the mumuksha is also important. But finally, once we are through this and our antakaran has become shuddha to a reasonable extent, then we have to get into more deeper tools for getting the jnana. And jnana ke antaranga sadhana. Antaranga means they are very close to jnana. So these are all sadhana, what we talked about, are called bahiranga. They are away from the jnana, but these are the antaranga, means they are more close to the shravana. Is something that Vedanta Vakya you learn from the Guru by doing satsanga with the Guru, not just reading or talking or discussing. This knowledge or this understanding you cannot get by just reading on your own way. You have to learn it from your Guru, Vedanta Vakya Shravana. So this is called Shravana, and this Shravana is not simple Shravana, it is Yukti Purnak Shravana. So with this understanding, with concentration, from your Guru you have to listen. And in today's world you can even listen, away from the Guru. You can be with the Guru and listen, or you can even be away from the Guru and listen from the recorded talks of the Guru. So this is what is called as a Shravana. The second part is called Manana. Manana means to use yukti or logic, and you explore the meaning of what you have heard from the Guru. Do a lot of introspection, how you can utilize or use this in your life, how you can put it into your practice, and in your real life you can use this knowledge or understanding to make your life better and to make the others' life better around you. So this is called Manana, and it's also very, very important, because only with Shravana you cannot, in today's world we cannot get the Jnana. In the earlier time when people were much more Shuddhi, they had much more Shuddhi, only with Shravana they could get the knowledge. But nowadays it's not possible, because with this today's life and with a Shuddhi that we have in our own self, with all the different emotions, the negative emotions, the nature of the talks going around, the media and everything, the circumstances, everything does not give us that only with Shravana we can get this Jnana. So after Shravana we have to do a lot of Manana, and after Manana we have to do a lot of Nididhyasana. So Nididhyasana essentially means contemplation or meditation onto what we have learned or what we have thought and explored and introspected. So we have to internalize this meaning, and essentially it means to convert the Anatma Vishayaka Sanskara into Atma Vishayaka Sanskara. Means that there are two types of Vishaya in this world. One is Atma Vishaya, another is Anatma Vishaya. Anatma Vishaya is everything that is not Atma. So anything, something like a body, mind, your intellect, a lot of your prana, everything, all the objects that we see around in the world, everything, all the objects, everything in the world that we can see is all Anatma. And our sanskara is that our mind always goes into Anatma Vishaya. So that is the natural inclination of the mind to always go towards this kind of Anatma Vishaya. So from there we have to pick up our mind, our senses, pull them back and put them in Atma Vishayaka Sanskara. Means you have to put it into the Atma Vishaya. So means try and cultivate sanskara which are completely different. And so it is a difficult thing. It is not easy. It has to be done on an ongoing basis for years, sometimes for lives, many, many lives, to change our Drada Sanskara. And then finally, you all must have heard this Tattva Masi. It is also called a Mahavakya. There are 4 such Mahavakyas in 4 Vedas. There are 4 Vedas and there are 4 Mahavakyas in each of the Vedas. And Tattvamasi, essentially, it is also made up of three padas: Tat, Tvam, and Asi. So Tat pada stands for Paramatma Tattva, or for God. Tvam pada stands for the Jeev, and Asi stands for Aikya. So essentially, this is the final destination. The Vedanta Gnana, the final Charam Sima or the final Lakshya is that everything is one. The Tat, Paramatma, Jeev and Brahma, or Jeev and Paramatma are one. Atma, Paramatma is one. It is Aikya. So this Aikya is something that we have to understand from the Guru, how this Aikya is possible, how we can see the oneness behind so many different things that we see. So we have a Veda Buddhi. How in this Veda Buddhi we can from Veda Buddhi go to Abheda Buddhi. So with this we can, this is a final destination. And this is possible only if we have this Brahmakara Vritti. We can change our internal Vrittis, and then we can develop this Atma Swarupa Gnana, which can create or liberate us and give us the moksha. So this is the final destination in our scriptures, that we need to see this Aikya. This is the final Gnana. This Gnana can only be aroused in us by or internalized in us by Brahmakara Vritti. And finally, the fruit that we get by getting this Gnana ultimately is the liberation or the moksha from a lot of things, from lives, multiple lives, from miseries, from dukkha, from attachments, a lot of things. We get complete liberation from desires and everything. So that is what is sadhana. I just wanted to give you a very nutshell what I have understood, being a seeker, being with a guru, what I have understood about sadhana. I just wanted to share with you what is, to summarize again, it's an inner journey. It's quite sukshma, it's very subtle, it's something that we cannot see, we cannot perceive. But if we are on this path, we will see the benefits, the changes that we are undergoing in our own mind. It is quite sukshma, and that's why it cannot be measured in terms of objectivity, but you can feel it certainly. So it's in this sadhana we have to work on our mana and our buddhi. We have to use our buddhi shakti to cultivate our mind. So that is the main focus of our sadhana. And the purva sanskara, which are very, very strong, we have to try and change them. We have to try and पहले तो उसको शिथिल करना है. शिथिल meaning उसको थोड़ा less strong बनाना है पहले वो पूर्व संस्कार को. And this changes take a lot of time. One should not be in a haste. We should have all the time. We have to keep walking on this path, and with a lot of awareness, sajakta. We must get help, expert help from Guru and Shastra. Only then this kind of ultimate realization is possible with this. And of course, finally, our own efforts, our own purushartha is the most important. We cannot leave this to prarabdha. We cannot say that God will take me to my ultimate destination. We have to give our best efforts. That is what our scriptures tell us. You do your karma in the best possible way, and then finally you live it with the grace of God or prarabdha to give the fruits of the action. So with this, I end this rather philosophical talk. But this is not philosophy. This is not just philosophy. I again would emphasize that this is the reality, and we must look, because we cannot see it, we don't perceive it, because our mind is only tuned, or we have been educated to only accept things what we can see. Where there is evidence means that we can see, we can measure, we can calculate, we can objectivize. So these are the things that we accept, we understand, and we internalize. But these, what scriptures tell us, is something which is very, very, very sukshma, which is very subtle, which is very deep, which is very vast, and which we can understand definitely by becoming more and more sukshma, more and more aware and present to the present moment. So with this, I thank you all for this participation, and I am sure that this will help you sometime in your life, and I wish you all the best on this path. Thank you very much.